You all know Vladimir Putin, right? So you must know he's been the president of Russia for a long time now. He's a man of importance because obviously he rules over Russia. That means that he must have made a lot of wealth during his time of reign, no? Come on, no one's that innocent. Besides, people have claimed that maybe Putin's wealth is so much that he's the world's first trillionaire. Though he does try to keep most of the things very private. But we've gathered information on the trillionaire lifestyle of Vladimir Putin in this video, so make sure you watch till the end because this will blow your mind. Let's start from the very start. During the legislative election of 2007, the public learned about the official estimates of Vladimir Putin's wealth. They showed that he owned different things like a 77.4 square meter or 833 square foot private home in St. Petersburg and about 3.7 million rubles or US $280,000 in bank accounts. In 2006, Vladimir Putin is thought to have made a total of 2 million rubles, which is about $152,000. Putin said that he made 3.6 million rubles in 2012. At the current exchange rate, this is about the same as $270,000. Vladimir Putin has been seen in many pictures wearing a wide range of expensive wristwatches. It's thought that these watches are worth a total of $700,000, which is about 6 times his annual salary. Vladimir Putin is said to have given gifts of watches that are worth tens of thousands of dollars each. In 2009, for example, Vladimir Putin gave a young boy from Siberia a watch that turned out to be a Blancpain. During his free time, he started talking to the young boy. Putin gave an employee of a manufacturing company a watch that looked a lot like a Blancpain that same year. Journalists and leaders of the Russian opposition have said they think Vladimir Putin is the secret owner of a fortune that is worth several $billion. People think that Putin got rich by buying shares in different Russian businesses. An editorial in the Washington Post says that Putin may not legally own these 43 planes, but as Russia's only political leader, he can act as if they belong to him. A reporter for the Russian news service RIA Novosti said Western intelligence services didn't find anything. 43 planes? Seriously? Who needs this much? Polygraph Info looked at papers written by Western, Anders Slun estimated $100 to $160 billion, and Russian, Stanislav Belkovsky, estimated $40 billion, researchers, as well as papers written by the CIA, estimated $40 billion in 2007, and counter-arguments from Russian media. No one knows exactly how much money Vladimir Putin has, and the Director of National Intelligence of the United States hasn't finished looking into Putin's finances yet. Polygraph.info says that Danilov's claim that Western intelligence agencies haven't been able to find proof of Putin's wealth is false. This is because the Panama Papers and independent investigators, like the ones Dawisha mentioned, have a lot of proof and records. Woof! The public is also now aware that the Panama Papers exist. In April 2016, 11 million documents from the Panamanian law firm Mossack Fonseca were leaked to the German newspaper Süddeutsche Zeitung and the International Consortium of Investigative Journalists in Washington, D.C. Both groups have offices in Germany. Putin is said to have nothing to do with the company, which is why his name doesn't show up anywhere in the company's paperwork. But several news outlets have said that 3 of Putin's friends are on the list. The Panama Papers leak showed that some of Vladimir Putin's loyal friends and close allies own offshore companies that are worth a total of about $2 billion. The German newspaper, Süddeutsche Zeitung, said in an article that it's possible that members of Putin's family could benefit from the current situation. Allegations say that $2 billion in U.S. currency were secretly moved through banks and shadow firms with ties to Putin's friends. Among these friends are Arkady and Boris Rotenberg, who are both worth $1 billion and work in the construction industry. Bank Rossiya, which the United States Department of State has said was Putin's personal bank account, played a big part in this deal. The article says that the money was transferred illegally through banks and shadow firms with ties to Putin's close friends. The research shows that Putin has shown he is willing to use force to keep secrets and protect common assets. Sergei Roldugin, who is one of Vladimir Putin's closest friends, may have a lot to do with where the money went. Even though he says he's a musician and not a businessman, it looks like he has assets worth at least $100 million and maybe even more than that, mind you. Some people have thought that he was chosen for the part because he likes to stay out of the spotlight. Many people say that Putin is the real owner of the money and that Erdogan was just speaking for him when they said that. Putin has a lot of money, maybe more than anyone else in the history of the world, said Garry Kasparov. Putin is very wealthy. At the time, Kasparov was talking about Putin's various business interests. So, in short, friends, he said that Putin is a freaking trillionaire. Vladimir Putin has lived in many different official buildings all over the country as well because why not, dude? The Moscow Kremlin, which is in Moscow, Gorky 9, which is also in Moscow, Novo Ogoryovo, which is in Moscow Oblast, Dogiye Borody, which is in Novgorod Oblast, Bostrov Bruche, which is in Sochi, and Riviera, which is also in Sochi, are all examples of these kinds of homes. In August 2012, people who didn't like Vladimir Putin made a list of the 20 mansions and palaces he owned. 9 of them were built during the 12 years that he was president. Putin built a dacha in the village of Solovyova not long after he quit his KGB job in Dresden, East Germany. Solovyova is near St. Petersburg. It's on the eastern side of Lake Komsomolskoye in the Karelian Isthmus in the Priozersk district of Leningrad Oblast. After a fire destroyed the dacha in 1996, Vladimir Putin worked hard to make it look exactly the same as it was before. After he convinced 7 of his friends to help him with the project and they all agreed, they all built dachas in the area. In 1996, the guys were able to make their fraternity into a cooperative society, which was their goal. They turned it into a private village with gates and named it Ozero, which means lake in their language. Near the town of Praskivivka, on the coast of the Black Sea, they are currently building a huge estate in the Italianate style. It has been called Putin's Palace and is said to cost over $1 billion. Just imagine $1 billion home. Sorry, I can't. Sergei Kolesnikov, who has worked with Vladimir Putin for a long time in business, said in 2012 on the BBC show Newsnight that Deputy Prime Minister Igor Sechin had told him to oversee the building of the palace. Kolesnikov was talking about the fact that this order came from Igor Sechin. Kolesnikov says that Sechin told him to do the things that he did. He also said that the house was built for Putin's personal use, even though it was built on land that belonged to the state, had 3 helipads and a private road that were all paid for with state money, and was guarded by officials wearing uniforms from the official Kremlin Guard service. Kolesnikov has said some bad things about Vladimir Putin. In response, Putin's spokesman Dmitry Peskov said, "Putin has never been to this palace." Peskov said this in response to what Kolesnikov had said. Alexei Navalny went back to Russia on January 17, 2021. As soon as he got there, the government arrested him and put him in jail. On January 19, 2021, 2 days later, the results of a video investigation were made public. It said that Vladimir Putin had built a mansion for himself with money he got by lying. This is what Navalny called the biggest bribe in the world. Alexei Navalny and the Anti-Corruption Foundation were the ones who were in charge of the investigation. During the investigation, Mr. Navalny said that the estate is more than 39 times bigger than Monaco and that it cost more than 100 billion rubles or $1.35 billion to build. It also showed drone footage of the estate and a detailed floor plan of the palace that Navalny said a contractor gave him and that he compared to photos taken inside the palace in 2011 that had been illegally posted on the internet. The video showed both of these things. In addition, he told people about a complicated corruption plan that, according to him, involved people in Putin's inner circle and let Putin hide billions of dollars so that he could build the estate. So this lad Putin has a lot of money, we kid you not. That's all for today, guys. I hope you liked this video. Don't forget to mention your comments below. Thank you for watching and see you next time.